Hey everybody, welcome to what I hope is the start of a brand new series on this channel. I'm hoping you guys will like this idea because I've always liked going into Steam and looking down at the reviews, especially if it's a game that I'm about to buy. And usually what I like to go do is I scroll down to the bottom and I use that little filter that says only show me negative reviews, because I feel like whenever you get the negative reviews, you get the real experience of playing that game. But sometimes these reviews are so bad, so poorly written, or just so poorly thought out that you can't help but just laugh at them. So that's the idea behind this series. And today, we're going to be looking at bad reviews for a little game called Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Not feeling it. The perilous strike system is a rock, paper, scissors guessing game. Get to a boss fight? You'd better grind against them until you memorize when it's okay to press which buttons for that specific boss. Boss fights are DDR charts, where the arrow timings are random, and the arrows mean different things for each song. Please memorize the chart before beating the boss. There is only one right answer. Both combat and movement are inconsistent and gooey feeling. I'll take Bloodborne, Devil May Cry 5, or Dark Souls 1 any day of the week over this. Okay, first of all, this guy has 30 hours played. Obviously, he was enjoying it at some level. I think from what I've heard, 25 hours is about what people have been taking to beat this game. So he at least enjoyed it enough to play all the way through it. So I don't really understand what his problem was. And second of all, I don't really understand the complaint. If you really want to be reductive about gaming in general, you can just call every little thing that any game does and any action that any game has a rock paper system, a rock paper scissors system, right? Let's take Smash Bros for example. Grab beats shield, smack beats grab, and shield beats smack, right? But obviously there's a lot more that goes into playing a game of Super Smash Bros. Than just rock, paper, scissors. There's movement that's involved, there's outsmarting your opponent, there's picking the right character for the character that you're trying to face, and of course, Sekiro is going to have the same things. Yeah, there's attacks that you want to block a certain way. Yeah, there's attacks that you want to jump over instead of dodging or blocking because you literally can't block them. But isn't that the point of playing an action game? Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't most games do this? You don't want to block literally every attack because some attacks are going to be unblockable. You don't want to dodge literally every attack because some attacks are going to have such a wide arc that you're just going to get hit. Isn't it like this in Dark Souls? Isn't it like this in Monster Hunter? I don't understand this guy's problem. But I do really like his comparison to DDR charts. Please memorize the chart before beating the boss. There's only one right answer. I mean, sure, again, if you want to be reductive about it. You know, it's kind of hard to find meme reviews for this game. Bamboo uncuttable, dodge roll broken, literally unplayable. This one makes me so mad, because he's right. Why can't I cut the bamboo? Why can't I cut the bamboo? Doing me dirty, FromSoft. You're doing me dirty by not letting me cut the bamboo. Negative review, 10.9 hours. Because you can't cut the frickin' bamboo. This game was stupidly way over the top difficult. I can't pass the first boss thanks to camera going haywire when she jumps above me during a melee. She heavily hits me like heck. What's that sentence? She heavily hits me like heck? I try to get good, I really do. But I am not good enough. Now I get headaches during the fight. I can't recommend this game. I loved Dark Souls 3, but this game is a few steps too close for masochism. She heavily hits me like heck. That's pretty good. You know, I sympathize with this guy at least a little bit. Historically, I'm the kind of person who has always summoned people to help me beat Dark Souls bosses. And even in Bloodborne, you had that option. But here in Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, you don't really get that opportunity. And because of that, the game can be seen as a lot more difficult because you don't have that get-out-of-jail-free card of having somebody kind of carry you through the environment and through the other bosses. The weird thing about this review, though, is that the guy has 84 hours on record! Have you been fighting the boss for that long, dude? The patience of this man. It's too repetitive. I like the die-go-back repetitiveness of Soulsborne, but this takes away the variability of trying new playstyles. Now, this guy only has 2.6 hours played in this game, so I guess his distaste is a little more believable than the last guy's, but I don't know. I have about 10 hours in Sekiro myself, but I'm already finding multiple different ways to play. You can sneak in and backstab as many people as you can before ultimately getting swarmed by everybody else, and then you have the option of like hit and run tactics. You have the option of using ranged abilities, and you have all sorts of options when it comes to your prosthetic tool. Which ones do you want to take into combat? Do you want to bust a fool with a flamethrower, or do you want to chop his head open with an axe? And I'm still just at the beginning of the game. Of course, 2.6 hours in, you're really not going to get the flavor of that, but it does kind of tease you with these things with locked menu items. But as far as your normal combos go, I mean, sure, I guess there's not a lot of variability in the way you attack, but if you're just looking at a raw moveset as the only options that you have, you're going to be disappointed with a lot of games, I think. Like I mentioned earlier with the Smash Bros. Example, there's so many other things to think about when you're in combat with somebody else. Lowering the amount of options that you have available may, to some people, be a bad thing, and in some cases it can be if you're a little too extreme about it. But that allows the designers to shift the difficulty into different aspects of the combat. I'm talking about things like worrying more about dodging or blocking the correct move at the correct time, and then choosing when to counterattack. In fact, you can change up your defensive styles as well. A friend of mine at work was able to beat one boss with a lot of dodges, while I beat that same boss with a lot of parries. And that's just one example with my limited experience with the game. It just seems like this guy didn't give the game enough time to open up and really get juicy. Good looking game, but the combat sucks. You gotta give me a little more than that, man. How am I supposed to make fun of that? How am I supposed to critique that? How am I supposed to defend against that? There's nothing there for me, dude. You still played it for 20 hours. What's wrong with you? Refunded. Enemies respawn when the character use rest is kind of annoying. I think this is this guy's first FromSoft game. I won't argue that it's kind of annoying, but it's a main mechanic of the game. It has some trappings of a Dark Souls game, but definitely isn't one. It's an action game that alternates Tenchu stealth killings with balls-to-the-wall difficult boss fights. I mean, you're not wrong. You played 40 hours and that's what you got out of it? I mean, of course it's not a Dark Souls game. Just because FromSoft made it doesn't mean it has to be a Souls-style game. Sure, it still has Souls-like difficulty, and I think that's what people have come to expect from FromSoft. But to expect a Dark Souls game in the way Bloodborne was a Dark Souls game, it's kinda rude, isn't it? It's like you're saying to the developers that they're not allowed to make anything else. And I think part of the problem is that they made Bloodborne in the style of Dark Souls. Sure, Bloodborne approaches combat design quite a bit differently than Dark Souls, but at its core, a lot of it's the same game. Sekiro's not. Sekiro still has that difficulty, and the flow of exploration and killing enemies and finding rest sites still feels very much like Dark Souls, and so does the punishing death and the hard bosses. But it's not Dark Souls. It's never gonna be Dark Souls. And the fact that people are coming in expecting Dark Souls, that's on them. And that leads us perfectly into the next review, which I just saw. It's not Dark Souls. No, it's not. He's figured it out. He's done it. One hardest games I have ever played becomes unenjoyable. Looks awesome game, but after dying 1,000 times, it does not become fun anymore. Wish there was a difficulty setting for us not good at these type of games. Credit to people who already doing speedruns. You know, I don't know if this one's a bad review. This guy gave it 25.5 hours, and he says it's one of the hardest games he's ever played, so good on you for giving it that long for something that you find very difficult. Not everybody has that patience. But this review gets really close to the whole difficulty settings in my video games argument, which I don't really want to get into in this video because that can be a whole topic on its own. And one that I've already kind of talked about in a different video when Cuphead came out, but my thoughts on it tend to shift from week to week even. But hey, if you have any specific comment on it, you can leave it in the section below if you know what I'm saying. Game is amazing, but seriously flawed. I want my $60 back. Game is probably a good value at about $40. Bosses are damage/parry sponges and surrounded by mobs you have to clear out before you can start the fight. Excuse me. Context-sensitive actions don't always work when you press the buttons. Might have to do with hidden mechanics. Death penalties are brutal, but probably meaningless considering you'll still farm plenty of resources throughout the game. Platforming could use some work. Were you expecting a platformer from this game? The platforming in this game is probably some of the easiest action game platforming that I've ever done, for one. You can't even fall off of some of the hard ledges. You grappling hook to a tree branch? The game doesn't even let you walk off, you gotta jump. But what gets me about this review is game is probably a good value at about $40? Why do you get to decide that? I don't get to decide that. I mean, I think the game would be a great value at $40. You know what would be a great value at $40? Hollow Knight. There's your Hollow Knight reference for the video. Gotcha, fam. Very unfriendly for PC, and my GTX 1070 can't even run it. You know, I don't know if this one's a bad review either. This game does have performance issues in my experience. But of course, with PC games, everybody's machine is gonna be different. That's just the way it's just the way it goes, man. But I do feel sorry for the people who can't play it just because of the bad performance issues. I've had so many crashes. I've had so many frame drops and inconsistent frame rate in general that it doesn't feel good to play right now. But I'm at least enjoying the gameplay enough to where I'm still addicted to it. So what's my final verdict? I think Sekiro is a pretty good game. But you know what? These reviews, as bad as I had hoped that they were, they aren't really as bad as I thought they would be. Some of them are, and I tried to at least rebut the ones that I thought were genuinely bad, but I was hoping for a few more meme reviews, and I guess I didn't find those. However, if you still liked it, please let me know in the comment section below about what you thought about this video in general. Like I said, this is something new for the channel, something that I've been kind of wanting to find like a regular series, and I think that this could be it. So yeah, please let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you have any recommendations for the next game for me to cover, please leave those down there too. I was thinking maybe Risk of Rain 2, because I just want more of that game, and I want more excuses to play it and look at it and think about it. But no promises. And those of you who are here for my more analytical videos and are just waiting for those, don't worry, this didn't take me a lot of time to make, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make it, because I wanted to get a little bit more content out on the channel for you guys. So I hope that this works for you. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll stick around, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new... Hey everybody, welcome to what I hope was... Hey everybody. Fucking... I'm hopeless! I don't know how to do this!